Dr. Chopra, thank you for joining me for my show. It's really a wonderful experience to have heard your presentation 2 times on happiness, and I think that's such a important aspect of talking about it now. But what I would like to ask you is, what motivated you or inspired you to write or talk about happiness?
So, a lot of things in life are chance and serendipity. So, about 9 or 10 years ago, I was invited to give a named lecture at Harvard Medical School called the annual Nathan Seidel Lecture in Medicine or Humanities. And the person who invited me is a pretty famous professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. And he said, Sanjiv, you're a pretty good storyteller. So this lecture is medicine or humanities. You can pick any topic. I said, Richard, I'm honored. Let me think about it for a couple of days and call you back. So 2 days later, I said, I've been thinking about it and I'd like to give a talk called Dharma, Happiness, and Living with Purpose. So I prepared for that talk and it was extremely well received. I've given that talk around the country, around the world, recently in Singapore, Kuwait, and then it became the basis of a book that I wrote with a friend and colleague, Gina Will. She's an Associate Dean of External Communications, Harvard Medical School. She's visited my family in India. She's learned meditation from my wife. So we're good friends. And she and I wrote the book together. 2 most important days: how to find your purpose and live a happy and healthier life.
Yeah, it's amazing. What message do you have for the youngsters now who are so involved in technology all the time?
So my message is happiness is an inside job. And that if we look for happiness outwardly, in seeing how many people followed us, or how many people said yes, or how many people on social media said, come and join us for a party, and you didn't get invited, then the kids are feeling left out. So there's also bullying, cyberbullying, and it's terrible. But there's also good with social media. And the good is somebody like Greta Thunberg, who's nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, 16-year-old Swedish activist. In more than 100 countries, children didn't go to school and marched to create awareness about climate change and global warming. That kind of power only exists with social media. You can't spread the word that quickly otherwise. I know of 4 couples who went to a fancy restaurant in New York City, and we see this all the time. There are 3 or 4 couples sitting, and each one of them is reading their iPhone. No one's even talking. So that was happening. She called the waiter. She said, bring a bread basket without the bread. The waiter got a bread basket without the bread. She turned to the other people, put her phone in, said, everyone put your cell phone in here. Whoever picks it up first is paying for the bill. It worked. So there are ways in which we can ration, be disciplined. At night, if you're charging your iPhone, put it away in a different room so you don't hear any noise. You're not tempted to see if you'd sent an email to a friend or colleague, did they reply? It can wait till the next morning. In some countries now, they're going to promulgate laws that if you work for the government, you're going to have a digital holiday between 7 o'clock in the evening and 7 the next morning. You're not allowed to send work-related email. So I think it's both a blessing and a curse, and we need to be smart in the way we address it.
So you've traveled the globe, and in your presentation also you've listed the 10 most happiest places to live.
Right.
And we see time again that Europe has one of the most happiest places, different places in Europe. What do you think the U.S. needs to do to get it even mentioned on the list?
The USA is year after year 18th, 22nd, 24th, not in the top 10. And a lot of Scandinavian countries, Bhutan, Costa Rica, are there. Often Denmark and Norway are 1 and 2, but recently it's been Paraguay. Panama has been in that top happiest country. I think for the USA, we have to reflect on what is true happiness, and that it's not living in a big house or driving a fancy car, joining a country club. We'll be happy for a few months, then we get used to it. This phenomenon is hedonic adaptation. The happiest Americans I know are the ones who have friends, who take part in philanthropy, who travel around the globe, who broaden their horizons. They're the happiest people. We have to emulate those people.
True. Now, one of the things you mentioned was that coffee is really good for you. So I wanted to ask you about with women's health and hormones, where my nutritionist has been telling me, Seema, don't drink coffee, it affects your hormones. So I would like your input on that.
Yeah, when your nutritionist or anyone says anything, including when I tell you coffee is good for you, you should challenge it and say, where's the research? Where's it published? And I want to see it published in a peer-reviewed journal. So coffee, the multitude of health benefits done in studies have been published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, JAMA, British Medical Journal, Diabetology, Lancet, all the best impact medical journals. And it's not one study, it's at least 40 studies. I wrote a book called The Big Five. The first 40 pages are devoted to coffee. I call it the magical elixir. And the downside, so it lowers the risk of 7 common cancers, including primary liver cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, endometrial cancer, skin cancer, and head and neck cancer. Low risk of diabetes, Parkinsonism, Alzheimer's. And 5 studies now, men and women who drink coffee live longer, less total and cause-specific mortality. Mechanistic explanations, low inflammation. Actually, coffee drinkers have lower levels of C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation. They have lower levels of TNF-alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha. They have high levels of plasma adiponectin, low levels of plasma adiponectin linked to aggressive liver disease. They have longer telomeres, less cellular aging. And it's not the caffeine. Coffee has 1,000 constituents, including carviol, cafestrol, chlorogenic acid. In animal studies, you can produce massive liver damage using a toxin. Now you repeat the experiment. You pre-treat the animal with carviol, totally abrogates the liver injury. Insulin sensitizing, so it protect against type 2 diabetes. Turns out here even decaf is good. Decaf and regular coffee, 6 cups, up to 54% reduction in type 2 diabetes. And if a person already has type 2 diabetes and drinks 2 cups of either regular or decaf coffee, 30% reduction in cardiovascular mortality. So coffee is truly the magical elixir. None of these studies have been sponsored by Starbucks or Pete's Coffee or Dunkin' Donuts or Costa. So peer-reviewed journals, mechanistic explanations, dose-dependent effect.
Well, that makes me really happy because I like coffee.
Yeah, I should mention the downside with coffee. Some people with horrible heartburn, it can aggravate it, irritable bowel syndrome or diarrhea, tachycardia or tremor, and insomnia. So I cannot drink coffee after 5 o'clock. By that time, I've had my 4 cups of coffee. I drink it black. But if I have coffee at a restaurant, dinner at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I'll probably be up all night.
Okay.
So, but the positive sides so far outweigh the minor negative side effects.
Wonderful. Well, what is that one message that you would like to give to my audience?
The message is you are the master of your destiny, and do simple things to be happy. We talked about friends, forgiveness for others, gratitude, find your purpose, exercise, drink coffee, eat nuts, meditate.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chopra. This has meant the world to me.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me for this interview. I hope you received some wonderful insights or tips that you can implement right away. For more interviews like this, please visit me at seemagiri.com or our YouTube channel, Break Free to Brilliance with Seema Giri. Until next time, have a great day.